Good afternoon, LinkedIn. This is Melvin from Malwarebytes here with 4 tips on how you can limit a brute force attack. Now, a brute force attack occurs when a bad actor uses an extraordinarily large amount of attempts to try and access a restricted resource. They typically would use some type of automated software to try and guess the password in the first place. Now, actually, this makes up for 82%, including phishing, so brute force attacks and phishing scams account for 82% of all data breaches in the workplace. This is according to a data breach investigation report. Now, brute force attacks can actually be quite wide-ranging from, for example, a dictionary attack that uses a list of common words, or a hybrid brute force attack that actually performs changes to words by adding numbers, symbols, and lowercases, uppercases, and that type of thing. Another way is credential stuffing, which is a list of usernames and passwords found in data breaches. Looking at ways to keep your company safe from and limiting a brute force attack is essential in staying proactive against these types of threats. So here are 4 ways that you can limit a brute force attack in the workplace. Number 1 is always use complex passwords. People tend to just use really simple passwords that are easy to guess, and an automated software program can actually help a hacker easily access those passwords. So make them really complex, long, at least 10 numbers and letters, use uppercase and lowercase, asterisks, full stops, exclamation marks, a real good combination of that. And also use a password manager, something like 1Password that I use for all of my passwords, and is very safe and secure, and is actually worth the investment in the long run. Number 2, use capacitors. They can be a very effective way of limiting a brute force attack in the workplace, because a lot of the automated software has trouble trying to solve the puzzles. It can be annoying for some employees to be able to solve these puzzles, but in the long run, it's certainly a worthwhile piece of technology to be adding into the mix. And number 3 is limiting the failed login attempts. This is another way to keep you safer and to stop bad actors being able to log in via failed attempts. And by reducing the amount of failed login attempts for each person, it makes it almost impossible for them to be able to use this vector to get into a restricted resource. And also as well, blocking unauthorized IP addresses after 3 or 4 failed attempts can be another way of really securing your business from a failed attempt. And you can also restrict these times to 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how long that you wanted to keep that restriction in place for. And number 4 is allowing two-factor authentication, which is essential to protect businesses these days. And by having this system set up, by sending a one-time passcode to either the email address or a mobile phone of the user, significantly reduces the harm that a brute force attack can happen by having this level of technology in place. This added layer of protection makes it almost impossible for hackers to gain access to your system. So just the last point for me, cybercriminals will always continue to uncover new ways of being able to break into people's systems. It's our job to limit the impact and to reduce the success of these attacks. It's essential for businesses. Brute force attacks, they can really ruin the reputation of a company, but following these preventative measures can help you overcome the hurdles and keep our systems safer. Have a good afternoon. Bye now.